Hi, my amazing planner friends. It's Jess from My Magical Planner. September is fast approaching, so I've just cleaned out all of my fountain pens and re-inked them with new inks for the month of September. And I'm going to go ahead and put together my currently inked page in my Hobonichi Cousin. Now, I generally do this in the back of my Hobonichi Cousin where you have the day on one page or daily pages. And I tend to use the starter page for the month or dashboard page, whatever you call this page. It doesn't have any grid on it or anything. It's a blank page, so it's a really good spot for me to put all my swatches. So if you haven't seen one of my currently inked videos before, I have kind of been a little lax on that the last couple months, I feel like. But here is June's currently inked. So I generally do a square or some other type of swatch for the color, and then I'll write the brand and name of the color. I'll write what pen it's in and the nib size. Excited to do that. I have 8 pens that I've inked up for this month, which might be a little overly ambitious, but I like having the variety. I know I'm not going to use up the ink in all of these over a month. I might, depending on how much I write. Here is our page that we're going to be doing our swatching on. Like I said, it is a completely blank page with no grid on it. However, you can see the grid from the previous page on here, so I tend to use that as a little bit of a guideline. All right, our first pen is going to be my Esterbrook Esty. This is in, I think they just call it blue, or maybe they pronounce it a little bit different, but it's essentially blue. And I love this pen. I got it for myself for Christmas, I think, last year. Such a good buy. So I have this currently inked up with Ferris Wheel Presses Lady Rose, which I know is going to be a lighter color. So I wanted a bigger nib on it. And while this is a fine nib, it does flow really well. And I feel like it's a bigger nib than some of my other fines. So you can see right here on the side that's where the fine is. Okay, so Lady Rose. Oh, I must have had a little bit of ink still left in here. I do feel like there was, like, maybe I didn't do as good of a job as I thought in cleaning the ink out, but this is Lady Rose. And to give you an idea, besides this little swatch here, this is my swatch book, and here is Lady Rose, which is a Ferris Wheel Press ink. I'm on the fence on the Ferris Wheel Press inks. Like, some of them I really like, and some of them not so much. I think I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Yeah, I definitely think there was a little bit of ink left in here. Some of these pens I had wrote with until they were completely empty over the last couple months, and they're a little harder to clean, I think, when you do that. But Ferris Wheel Press, Lady Rose. Esterbrook. Esty in a fine nib. And actually, I'm liking this more than I thought I would. I thought it was going to be too light, but I think this is going to be a good color for fall. So that's our first pen. Next, we have the Benu Briolette. This is in luminous blue. It actually glows in the dark, which I think is really cool. And because I wanted a variety of colors, and I definitely wanted to include fall colors, this is actually Diamine's Red Dragon in here, which is a really nice deep red color. So let's see what that swatches out like in this pen. This is also in a fine nib. And I have a couple of inks that I feel are very similar as far as this red goes. Like, there's this one, there is Private Reserve's Infinity Burgundy, and then I have Wearingall's Captain Hook, and I feel like all three of those are, if not the same color, like, they are such close sisters that it's hard to tell them apart. So I just picked one at random to do this with. And since I think the last time I used a red ink, I used Wearingeul, I thought it would be a nice difference to have this one. So we have Diamine. And you can definitely see the difference in the fine point here. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can really see. But what pen you're using and the nib, like they're different from pen to pen, from brand to brand. And this is in my Benu. How do you spell Briolette? Ooh, I think that's right. And this is also in a fine. I love this fine. It's such a wet writer and with such a fine point. I just adore it. But here, this is what I meant about the size of the nibs. Even though they're both fines being different, you can really see the difference in how it writes. They're both pretty wet writers. It's just the Briolette has a much finer tip. All right, next we have Golden Sands. I thought this would be a great color for fall. Actually, I'm playing with the idea of using all of these in one spread or maybe doing some artwork with them. I think that would be fun. But I've put the Diamine Golden Sands in my Esterbrook JR. This is another pen that I absolutely adore. It writes amazing. It's a medium nib, which I felt this particular ink really needs because it is a very shimmery type ink. And I'm doing a little bit, like I like it when my pens can match on the outside and the inside. And so I'm doing a little bit of Liberty. There's a little bit of yellow in this, not a ton, kind of after Brazil, but I thought this would be a really nice fit because of the way it writes. So Diamine, Golden Sand. Sorry about that, guys. My battery died, but in case it cut off, I did put Diamine Golden Sands in my Esterbrook JR, which is a medium nib. Now, I find this part really interesting that both Esterbrooks, even though this one is a fine and this one is a medium, I feel like they write very similar and that the tip size is about the same. So just something of note. The next ink we're going to use is kind of a combination of the two in coloring, I feel like. So we're doing Journalizer's Whimsical line. This is Tinkerbell, so it kind of has these reddish hues and some green in there, some gold in there. It's kind of a fun color, and I thought it would be good for the changing of the seasons. You could really see how much glitter is in here. Now, in the beginning, kind of intro portion of this video, you probably saw that I very easily was able to switch out the nib. So I did have an extra fine nib in here, but I've noticed that the inks that I try to put in here don't work with an extra fine nib. So I switched it out for a medium nib. I love that you can do that with TWSBI, that it's so easy. The whole unit is just there, and it's just, you unscrew it and then screw it in. So let's go ahead and do our swatch here. I'm not sure how this one is going to end up being, like if I'm going to like it or not. It's one that I've been a little hesitant to use. Even, like I got it because I love Tinkerbell and I love the concept, but I'm a little leery of how it was going to write, if it was going to be too light or not, but you have to eventually just try it out, right? So I'm not sure I like how this nib is writing. I feel like the extra fine nib maybe wrote a little better. We'll have to see. But it's definitely still a very, very fine nib. And it doesn't flow the same way the other pens do. So just something of note. And this is my Twiz. I always write it wrong. I always want to put an extra letter in there. TW, I always try to put an I here, and then it's SBI, and it's my 580. I only have one 580, so I'm going to leave it at that. And we now have a medium nib instead of an extra fine. The next ink I chose, I figured it's fall, we need a brown, so I went with this Robert Oster's Choc. I think it's chocolate pudding, not choco pudding, but either way, this is our color. And I have this inked up in my Monteverde Ritma, which is also a medium nib. Ooh. I was having some issues with what appeared to be linking. And it looks like it may be still doing whatever it was doing. I don't know what's up with that. So actually, let's put this aside for a minute. And unfortunately, I'm going to have that dot there. I think I have some paper towel here somewhere. Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay, that pen is maybe going on the sidelines. So maybe we won't have chocolate pudding. All right, we have 3 more to go. So our next one is KWZ's Honey, and I inked this up in my Pilot Vanishing Point. I feel like this is going to be a good combination. So let's, ooh, I really did not do my due diligence on cleaning these this month, I think. So this is a more brownish gold, I feel like. So we have KWZ, and it's just honey. This does have a slight sweet scent to it, which I kind of like. And this is in my Pilot Vanishing Point, and this is a fine nib. Maybe I'll make that a little bit longer so it fits with the writing a little better. Next, I have one of my newest pens. This is my Benu Astro Gem. Now, when I was inking this up, I am going to have to try and see what I can do. Some ink did get in this little collar, which I remembered was an issue after I inked it up, that I really need to like syringe fill it or something. But this is inked up with Diamine's, one of their Inkvent calendar colors from last year called Nightfall. I thought having a nice blue ink plus Nightfall went really well with the theme of this pen. So that's what I did. And this is a medium nib. So Diamine. Nightfall. I almost feel like there's a little feathering with this. I can see it right here, which is interesting. New Astro Gem. And we have a medium nib. Now I'm going to show you what I mean about I feel like I have a little bit of feathering. It's not a lot, but if you look really closely at like the D there and stuff, there is a very slight feather to it. I don't know, that's like maybe there was a little water left in there for me cleaning it or something, but I'm going to enjoy writing with it still. And then because I am going to check on that pen and see what the deal is, my last pen is my Benu French Poetry, which I have inked up with Mother of Pearl because I wanted a black ink. I tend to gravitate towards black inks a lot, and so I wanted to make sure that I included one. So this is also, I believe, a medium nib. Double check in a minute. And this one is a very interesting ink. It's by Vinta. And so it does have a Filipino name as well, which I cannot pronounce, so I won't even try. And we're just going to put Mother of Pearl here. And then I'm going to put Banu. I can't remember the name of this, like the design, because French poetry is this colorway, and I, off the top of my head, can't think of what it is. Just going to double check that you're medium. Yes. Okay, there are my inks for this month. I'm curious, what are you guys inking up this month? And you know, what is your favorite fall ink? Do you like your browns? Do you like more golden colors? Maybe you're a red person. What are you going for this month? Anyhow, that's what I have, and until next time, I'll see you real soon.
Until you really hear. special.